My name is Oscar Torres, and here's my research project for beginning metal smithing. The person I am researching for this project is going to be Richard Mawdsley. And the reason I'm researching him is for his works in jewelry. They tend to be very small and intricate, and they tend to be related to an event or a location. For example, this necklace right here is based after the Boston Tea Party, with different designs with crystals. There's a centerpiece for tea, and there's many different small intricate designs that he uses to relate that message. Richard Mawdsley was born in 1945 in Kansas. While growing up, he had worked in a farm with his grandfather during the summers, and his main influence today is actually the rusted machinery that he saw in the farm. Richard had actually started metalsmithing by accident. He had tried joining a different jewelry class, but all the other ones were full, so he was forced to join metalsmithing and found a passion for it, so he had continued working on it. This is one of his works called Raygun. It has very heavy influence on the machinery that he used to see, with different tubes and rivets and the design of an engine. Again, Richard's works are mainly based off old machinery and mechanical components. Richard had received his MA from University of Kansas in jewelry and silversmithing, and received his BSE from Emporia State University. This is one of my favorite works. It's called Feast Bracelet. This one isn't directly influenced by that machinery that he saw, only some components, but the whole thing is very small, and it's one of my favorite, again, because it has so many little items that are very small and very tedious to make. Continuing with his design choices, Richard uses a bunch of tubes in his works, which come in different shapes and sizes. For example, the triangular tubes, bent tubes, twisted tubes, or fluted tubes. Such in this work, called Medusa, uses a bunch of different tubes, different shapes, and different sizes, like I said, continuing different patterns, and using only similar ones for the design-esque. In his early works being influenced by machinery and industrial objects, Richard in his later works was also influenced by motifs, mythologies, and history. These influences are present in many of his actual metalsmithing works, this being more of a Aztec type of half-sun, named Oculi Rectus Superius number 4. Richard can create these different works, different styles, by the way he uses his tubing, with the sizes and shapes varying with each work. Richard made his early works in silver and gold, while in his later works he began using this computer numerical control milling machine to create them in less expensive metals. This is one example of it, called the Untitled Standing Cup, that he made in 2010. With the amount of works that Richard had made and the different ways he has created them, he has had many exhibitions throughout the world, in some countries being Europe, Australia, and Asia. With many of these works being around the world, they are spread through many museums like Renwick Gallery, Smithsonian Institution, Yale University Art Gallery, and Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. This is one of his early necklaces called the Headdress Number 5, made in 1984. With the works that Richard has around the world, he participates in a lot of exhibitions. This allows him to showcase his metal tubing, the ways he uses it, and their shapes and variety, the different metals that he does use, the stones that he inlays within all his works. Just like this necklace right here, he showcases how his works are influenced by old machinery, having different engines, showcasing like a ship. With Richard's works being very popular around the world, he has won the National Endowment for the Arts Artist Fellowship and 3 Illinois Art Council Fellowships, and he received these for his innovations and his different techniques that he uses with all his works. His other rewards that he has achieved involve honor rewards, scholar rewards, and the alumnus reward. After Richard had gotten his education and completed his course, he began teaching at different universities. One of the universities that he taught at was the University of Kansas until 2004 when he retired, and another one was Carbondale since 1978. This allowed him to meet and teach different other metalsmiths, And on the topic of different metalsmiths, we're going to talk about who I had chosen. And to start with one of the metal practitioners that I chose, I wanted to talk about Gary Griffin. The reason I chose him is how he gets his influences on his different works. He creates different fences, gates, or shelves that mirror the surrounding areas, and with the intricate designs led me to choose him. With the added fact that Gary, like Richard, had taught about metalsmith and has had exhibits widely, like this one called Lot, mirrors an aesthetic of nature and rocks. The second metalsmith practitioner that I wanted to talk about and chose will be Albert Paley, with his goal of wanting to transform the jeweler's art. He wanted to highlight the relationships between the body and the piece, usually working in pendants, necklaces, or brooches, and he wanted to change the form of jewelry. With him being highly successful, even winning the Renwick's Gallery competition in 1974, this piece pendant. The final practitioner that I will be talking about is Brent Kington. What I find interesting about him is the switching of styles in his works. Originally, he worked as a silversmith, then became a traditional blacksmith, working in their styles and their original techniques. I mainly chose him for his relationship with working with jewelry and moving sculptures similar to the other practitioners that I talked about, and also his teaching at Southern Illinois University. With that, this is all the actual research that I use, and this does conclude my research presentation for Richard Mawdsley.